31st of October 2024. Welcome to Somalia's premier #1 station for news and updates. It's a pleasure to have you on board tonight. We've prepared for you a lengthy news bulletin, but lovely viewers, first kindly have a look at the stories that are making our headlines. Somalia to decide on Ethiopian role in AUSA mission, says UK's ambassador. Somalia hails UN resolution for transition of assistance mission. Somalia expels Ethiopian diplomat over interference in internal affairs. Prime Minister Barre meets Djibouti Parliament in Mogadishu. Somalian president vows to uphold memorandum of understanding with Ethiopia, accuses Somalia's president of campaign against Ethiopia. Somalia to hold local elections in June 2025 and parliamentary elections in September 2025. Now let's delve into a full bulletin. Somalia's political landscape is set for a significant shift as leaders have agreed to conduct local government elections in June 2025, followed by parliamentary elections in September 2025. The decision announced in a communique from the National Consultative Council on Wednesday, marking a critical step towards restoring democratic process in a country long plagued by political instability. Here's a full story. Somalia's political landscape is set for a significant shift as leaders have agreed to conduct local government elections in June 2025, followed by parliamentary elections in September 2025. This decision was announced in a communique from the National Consultative Council on Wednesday, marking a critical step towards restoring democratic process in a country long plagued by political instability. The National Consultative Council emphasized the necessity of fair elections grounded in a multi-party system, enabling Somali citizens to directly elect their representatives. To facilitate this, the Council agreed that legislation covering elections, multi-party system, electoral commissions, and electoral boundaries are presented to the federal parliament without delay. The federal leaders and heads of 3 regional states have called for the swift establishment of independent national commission for the elections and boundaries. The 2 regions that have been at odds with the federal government, particularly Puntland's President Saeed Deni, was expressed grievances since the current administration took office in 2022. The NCC meeting was attended by key figures including President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre, and the mayors of the regional presidents of Hirshabelle, Southwest, and Galmudug. However, the absence of leaders from Jubaland and Puntland cast a shadow over the proceedings. Jubaland's leader Ahmed Madobe Ali departure from the meeting further underscored the divisions within Somalia's political elite. He left after demanding the inclusion of Puntland and Katomo in discussions, arguing that their participation was essential for the legitimacy of the upcoming elections. The dissent among political leaders has prompted concerns over the overall credibility of the electoral process. Opposition figures, including former President Mohamed Farmajo and President Sheikh Sharif Ahmed, criticized the National Consultative Council's communique, alleging it failed to achieve consensus and did not reflect the views of all stakeholders. Somalia has praised the United Nations Security Council's unanimous adoption of the Resolution 2753-2024, which sets in motion transformation of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Somalia, UNSOM, into a transitional mission. The decision passed on Wednesday outlines a 2-year roadmap to gradually transfer responsibilities from the United Nations Somalia's national authorities. Starting November 1st, 2024, the United Nations Transitional Assistance Mission in Somalia, UNTAMS, will embark on the first phase of this drawdown, running through 31st October 2025. By 31st October 2026, full control of the political and security functions is expected to be handed over to Somalia's government and United Nations country team. Somalia has praised the United Nations Security Council unanimous adoption of the Resolution 2753, which sets in motion the transformation of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Somalia, UNSOM, into a transitional mission. The decision, passed on Wednesday, outlines a 2-year roadmap to gradually transfer responsibilities from the United Nations Somalia's national authorities. Starting on November 1st, 2024, the United Nations Transitional Assistance Mission in Somalia, UNTAMS, will embark on the first phase of this drawdown, running through to October 31st, 2025. By October 31st, 2026, full control of political and security functions is expected to be handed over to Somalia's government and the United Nations country team. The resolution lays out several key priorities for the United Nations Transitional Assistance Mission in Somalia. First, supporting Somalia's state-building efforts and constitutional review, assisting in the organization of free and fair elections, promoting human rights and the rule of law, advancing security sector reforms, and coordinating international donor efforts to bolster Somalia's development. Somalia's representative at the United Nations welcomed the resolution highlighting the government's commitment to collaborating with transitional mission and the UN country team on long-term development goals. The proposal for this transition submitted by Somalia's foreign ministry in August followed months of negotiations between the federal government of Somalia and the United Nations Support Office mission facilitated by a joint Somali government declared on Tuesday Ali Mohammed Aden, consular to the embassy of Ethiopia in Mogadishu, persona non grata, ordering him to pack up and leave the country within 72 hours. In a statement issued by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Aden is accused of interfering with Somalia's internal affairs. Here's a full story. Somalia's government on Tuesday declared Ali Mohammed Aden, a consular at the embassy of Ethiopia in Mogadishu, persona non grata, ordering him to pack up and leave the country within 72 hours. In a statement issued by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Aden is accused of interfering with Somalia's internal affairs. The ministry stated it took the measure to safeguard national interest and uphold international diplomatic standards, underscoring Somalia's commitment to protecting its sovereignty and adhering to international law. Mogadishu's decision to expel Aden is seen as an effort to crack down on actions that might infringe on its sovereignty and internal matters. This diplomatic fallout between the amid already strained relations between Mogadishu and Addis Ababa, which have been tense since Ethiopia signed a memorandum of understanding with Somalia on January 1st of this year. The memorandum of understanding, viewed by Somalia as an infringement on its territorial integrity, has caused bilateral relations to sour, fueling Somali authorities' vigilance against any perceived encroachment by Ethiopian representatives. Somalia Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre met with the Speaker of Djibouti Parliament, Dilayeta Mohammed, and his delegation on Wednesday in Mogadishu to discuss strengthening bilateral relations. Prime Minister Barre emphasized the significance of cooperation between Somalia and Djibouti, focusing on enhancing development, mutual respect, security, and regional stability. He expressed gratitude to Djibouti for its continuous support in Somalia's nation-building efforts.
Somali Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre met with the Speaker of the Djibouti Parliament, Dilayeta Mohammed, and his delegation on Wednesday night in Mogadishu to discuss strengthening bilateral relations. Prime Minister Barre emphasized the significance of cooperation between Somalia and Djibouti, focusing on enhancing development, mutual respect, security, and regional stability. He expressed gratitude to Djibouti for its continuous support in Somalia's nation-building efforts. Speaker Dilayeta thanked the Somali government and its people for the warm welcome, commending Somalia's progress and accomplishments over the past 2 years. In the coming days, Speaker Dilayeta is expected to address the Somali Parliament to outline further collaborative efforts between the two countries' parliaments, particularly regarding governance and security cooperation.
Musa Bihi Abdi, the president of Somaliland, asserted that Somaliland will not back down from implementing the memorandum of understanding it signed with Ethiopia, despite any opposition or pressure from external parties. In an interview with the BBC, the president stated, "Nothing has changed. It remains as it was." Bihi, who leads a self-declared independent state, continued, "Everyone is waiting for when operational document will be finalized." Bihi accused Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of mounting opposition to the agreement, stating that Hassan Sheikh has launched a campaign against Ethiopia.
Musa Bihi Abdi, the president of Somaliland, asserted that Somaliland will not back down from implementing the memorandum of understanding it signed with Ethiopia, despite any opposition or pressure from external parties. In an interview with the BBC Somali, the president noted that nothing has changed. It remains as it was, he said. Bihi accused Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of mounting opposition to the agreement, stating that Hassan Sheikh Mohamud launched a campaign against Ethiopia. He emphasized that the deal was struck between Ethiopia and Somaliland, not with Somalia's federal government. The Memorandum of Understanding MOU between Ethiopia and Somaliland was signed early January 2024. and aims to grant Ethiopia sea access in exchange for recognition of Somaliland. 10 months after its signing, the MOU is still awaiting implementation. In February, Somaliland announced that it was on course without any wavering and remains seized of the MOU's implementation, appointing a technical team, a group of international legal experts, and a high-level advisory group to guide the process. Somalia has opposed the MOU from the start, escalating tensions between Ethiopia and Somalia. Somalia has strengthened its ties with Ethiopia's rivals, particularly Egypt and Eritrea, forming what observers described as an axis against Ethiopia, to pressure Ethiopia to reconsider its position on the MOU signed with Somaliland. Bihi, who is seeking re-election in November 2023, expressed willingness to engage in dialogue with Somalia, provided there is no recognition of Somaliland's claimed independence.
Lovely viewers, that story brings us to the end of our bulletin. I wish to thank the Dalsan Media fraternity for making this news edition a success, and you are lovely viewer wherever you're watching us from. Have yourselves a lovely night and be blessed.